Ontario just secured 1,300 megawatts of new renewable energy. These projects all feature at least 50% Indigenous equity ownership. The contracts were signed at prices 21% lower than the previous round, marking a massive expansion for the province's solar capacity. A megawatt is a necessary unit of power, but it is an insufficient metric for a stable society. For that, you have to count witnesses. A witness is a household that can attest the system sees their care burden, includes their watershed, and corrects for the legacy of colonialism. If the cost of living forces these households to migrate, the multi-billion-dollar infrastructure being built today loses its purpose. The turbines will keep spinning, but the revenue will disappear, the workforce will leave, and utility bad debt will spike. The longevity of this infrastructure relies on the physical presence and stability of the people living directly underneath it. Every energy market relies on jurisdictional anchors. These are grid operators and utility companies that derive their authority from physical territory. They cannot move. Operating alongside them are legal anchors, the hyperscalers, like Microsoft and AWS. They are borderless, moving capital across continents, tethered to a region only by global contracts. Both groups are currently losing millions. The grid operator pays for congestion and reliability shortfalls. The utility carries customer bad debt. The hyperscalers pay for environmental mitigation and interconnection delays. This is defensive capital, money wasted on the symptoms of a failing foundation. The capital to stabilize the region is already sitting on these balance sheets. The problem is that the corporate ledgers never connect. This gap hides a critical pattern. On one side, the utility knows which accounts are defaulting. On the other, the hyperscaler knows its workforce demand. That neither entity can see the exhausted local caregiver standing in the center of the failure. Disconnected ledgers hide the socioeconomic patterns that drive these financial losses. The Intelligence Cascade queries ledgers without centralized surveillance. Layer 1, cold data, establishes baseline reality. Layer 2, warm data, overlays anonymized ledgers, mapping infrastructure strain. Layer 3, hot data, uses hospitals to validate trends. Layer 4, attested data, lest individuals speak truthfully, mathematically shielded. By identifying the link between a household's survival gap and the defensive capital wasted on its failure, the math becomes clear. For every $25 million redirected from those defensive line items to stabilize a cohort, the system saves $900 million in cascading costs. That is a 36-to-1 return on investment created by stopping the crisis at the source. This recursive layering approach allows the system to see the whole pattern while ensuring that data never leaves its point of origin. Compensating local care work does not harm industrial productivity. The minutes a caregiver spends looking after a family member are currently stolen from her rest and her survival. When a dividend from the coordination layer closes that gap, she is freed to work. The utility worker's household stabilizes, and the company retains a trained employee. This is the stabilization of the foundation that makes all other economic activity possible. This 1776 title page of The Wealth of Nations reminds us coordination was the invisible hand's original intent. Smith assumed individuals were anchored to communities. It was meant to circulate value through the baker, brewer, and household, not act as an extraction machine. In Ontario, the jurisdictional anchors, the trapped capital, and the legal pathways are already in place. The province has built the megawatts. Now it must build the coordination layer to ensure the witnesses are still there when the turbines start spinning. The coordination layer closes the circuit between the hyperscaler and the home, fulfilling the original purpose of the market by witnessing the household, the caregiver, and the worker.